Welcome to In Pursuit of Purpose podcast. I am your host, Obing. I am back with another great show for you. Episode 3. During these times of crisis, we all need a little bit of extra motivation. Let's go. This is In Pursuit of Purpose podcast. Once again, your favorite host, Obing, here live in effect. So we gotta talk about a lot of things today, y'all. We gotta get some things situated because we are dealing with a crisis on our hands. We are dealing with an epidemic, one that is trying to take the world and people's minds by storm, one that is trying to destroy us in the very fabric of who we are and trying to get to the very core of who we are, right at the very center of who we are. And for that, we just cannot let that happen. And so I found the right man, a great man. And this man is going to do what he does best. He's going to do what he was put here to do. This episode 3, is brought to you by sweatforsuccess.wix.mysite.com. Yes, go there and you can get your famous Obeying Meditations books. You can go and get your famous Obeying Meditations guides and allow those things to help you get to where you would love to be. Again, the website is sweatforsuccess.com/my-site. And this show is going to be lit because I'm bringing to you none other than a brother that I've known for quite some time. This brother has been, I want to say like a spiritual teacher. I want to say like a motivational mentor. A motivational mentor of mine. He has helped me get through some of the rough times. He has helped me come through a lot of trial and error. This man is known best for his motivational speeches, his motivational talks, and his motivational fire, his wit, his wisdom. This is the man, Donal L. Dowridge Jr., author and motivational speaker. I'm going to be bringing him onto the show again. This episode was done over a live Zoom. Most of our episodes will be done over Zoom and Skype simply because of the coronavirus that we are facing right now. And so for podcasters like myself, we're going to be, doing our social distancing thing. So with that being said, we have to practice, proper guidelines and rules and abide by these things. But that still doesn't negate the fact that messages still have to get out somehow, some way. And so the podcasting world is a unique world because we get to bring you great conversations, great topics, right from anywhere in the world. As long as there's a Wi-Fi connection, we can bring you Zoom, we can bring you Skype live talks. And so that's what these platforms have allowed us to do. I'm going to be introducing to you for the first time on this show, episode 3, Donal L. Dowridge Jr., author and motivational guru himself. Donal L. Dowridge. Stay tuned and leave your comments at the end of the show. Welcome back to In Pursuit of Purpose podcast. This is your host, Obing, better known as Marcus, and I am here to bring you nothing but another wonderful episode. Episode 3. We are getting ready to get into a very, very, very good discussion today. Amidst all of the turmoil that we are going through, amidst all of the problems we are having, the boredom that we are having, we need motivation. We need some upliftment. We need some encouragement in these times. And I found just the right person to do it. Introducing to you none other than the man himself, Mr. Frederick Douglass, a man that I have known for about, let's see, this would be about 2014, 15 was when I did my Martin Luther King speech. And you was there, my very first big speaking engagement, the Martin Luther King speech. And that was about 2014 to 15. That's where I met you at. And we just, ever since then, we just had a kinship, a relationship, a brotherhood. And this man right here, the motivational guru, the man of many books, author, entrepreneur, motivational speaker, Frederick Douglass, actor, because he looked just like Frederick Douglass, Mr. Donal L. Dowridge Jr. Brother, introduce yourself. Do anything I may have missed, continue on to pick up where I may miss and left off at. Brother, thank you for joining the In Pursuit of Purpose podcast show.
My brother, first of all, I want to say thank you very much for inviting me to be your guest today. I hold you in high esteem. Um, as we talked yesterday or day before yesterday, we've given each other kudos, mad kudos and whatnot, or should I say glad kudos, you know. And when you asked me to be your guest, and I'm truly honored and humbled to have this platform to speak to you. Now, I do know you as Marcus, but I want to be out of straight respect. Pronounce your name again.
Obing.
Obing. All right, I'm
Obing.
that respect.
That's
All right.
that's that's that spirit. That's the name the ancestors came and gave me when I made a spiritual transition into the purpose, the calling that I was called. The purpose I was put here for. And when you go
Yeah.
into a transformation or transition, it comes with a whole new. It's a rebirth.
There you go. Well, I want to respect you, even though I'm old enough to be, like you say, the OG. But I want to respect you in your path. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes.
It's one thing to, if I can go back and draw up as I look over here at this big print that I have of Muhammad Ali. One reason he was really mad at Floyd Patterson because Floyd Patterson, a black man, refused to call him Muhammad Ali. He
Mm.
continued to call him Cassius Clay.
Mm.
And the more he called him Cassius, the more Ali was hitting him in that nose, Cassius
Mm-hmm.
the rabbit. So, Obing, correct?
That's right.
Okay, so I want to give you that respect, my brother,
Yes, sir.
because and I also respect the path that you're walking on, your initiative, and the if I will, the walk that you're walking. You're a deep dude, you're a deep brother, and it's like every time you come out of your mouth, they say the tongue, is the most evil instrument on our bodies. But every time you come out of your tongue, brother, and you spitting some serious bars that would take people, if they just listen, they'll go straight to the stars. Don't have me
Yes.
get started up in here.
No, don't do that yet, man. We got to open up the show first, man.
Yes, sir. Go
But
ahead.
talk to me about right now, man. You wrote some books. You speak everywhere. You've been everywhere. You talk to a lot of people over your career, and I've witnessed you. Give great talks, and upliftment and encouragement in times of need. And people right now are looking for ways to stay motivated. Talking to the motivational guru himself right now, what is the best practice that people can have right now knowing that you may have been through many things yourself, what is it that you do? And what does it have you done to stay motivated?
Well, my brother Obin, again, thank you. Previously, I was doing a live Facebook, and I was talking about the 11 steps to excellence. And when you mentioned the books, well, here's I'm showing The Power of Being a Winner, which was my 13th book, and here's my recent one that just came out last year, November, Motivational Moments.
Motivation.
Inside of excuse me, inside of The Power of Being a Winner is, and it can be found, the 11 steps to excellence. One thing I know is that, in this crucial time that we are living in, what I would like to put out to the public, especially those that are really, uh, feeling this, and really going through strife, if you will, is that it's the 11 steps, and number one being your faith.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have that faith, and that faith must be in place. You got to believe in somebody, greater than yourself. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times, we fail because we figure that we are the supreme being. In reality, you know what I mean, it's greater than us, and we have to believe in someone better. I mean, not better, but greater than us that have paved the work, paved the road, opened the doors, and prepared for this time that we are in. Because one thing for sure, my brother, like you said, if you don't know where you come from, how you gonna go forth? If you go forth, you're going right over the cliff
Mm-hmm.
because you don't know. And the first thing you're falling on is I give up. Well,
Mm-hmm.
if you got that faith, then you don't have to give up.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, matter of fact, tomorrow is the first of the month. So if
Yeah.
you're gonna give up anything, you give up that mortgage payment. You give up
Mm-hmm.
that rent payment. You see what I'm saying? You
Mm-hmm.
give up, that currency to bring food into the house. But in reference to giving up on your self-esteem, giving up on your abilities, giving up on your strength, giving up on your belief. You see what I'm saying? Uh, Giving up on being optimistic. When
Yeah.
you give up those, you might as well do what was told to me years ago. Go to Home Depot.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody gonna be mad at me. But if you're gonna give up, go to Home Depot. Go out to your nearest, purchase you a shovel. Go to the nearest cemetery and dig a 6 feet hole. Jump in it.
Right.
But besides that, you see what I'm saying? This is not the time to give up and throw in the towel. This is the time that we have to rely on. And the word that I want to bring out, which is number 6 on the list, is to endure. We have to endure these times
Right.
because these times are only going to make us stronger.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? You got
Mm-hmm.
to look at, since you talk about the ancestors, we have to look at those who went through worse than this. One thing I will say that we are living in a lapse of luxury right now.
Mm.
I don't care how poor you might think you are. You're living in a lapse of luxury right now because you got to understand that when you look back, there are people that did not have what we had. There were people who were whipped at their every turn. There were people who were raped at their every turn. You feel me? There were people who were sold on the open market at every turn. So somebody might be listening and say, well, why is he going back there? Well, I'm going back there because that right there gives you the strength to move forward
Mm.
through these hard times that they say we're going through. You feel me?
I
So
feel you.
it ain't about let me say this, because I know you want to ask the next question, but
No, go
it ain't
ahead. Go
about
ahead. Take
it
your
ain't
time.
about one thing I learned about this life, it ain't about the attitude. It's about how high can you raise your altitude. Because altitude will allow you to go through the roller coaster of life. And right now, where we are right now, we're not going up the hill. We're down in the valley right now.
Oh, yeah, we are. And you
We're
said,
in the valley.
you definitely right about that. You said, and yeah, because the valley is where it's supposed to be dark at. It's supposed to be depressive.
And a lot of people are going through a lot of anxiety down here because
Yes,
they
sir.
don't, there's a saying, I forget who said it. It may have been, I think, Zig Ziglar or something, who said that if you can't, if you can't get to the top, you don't know, you can't see how, if you're not at the top, you're not able to see how far you can go. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like basically, when you're down in the valley, you think that that's it. But once you get to the top, you see really that is more to go. But
It's more to
so
go.
so you're not really content. And you're like, wow, I didn't really accomplish much, but you're not content. You're at the top, but you're not content. And so that's what people should have been practicing during these times. They shouldn't have been content. You talked about standing on the backs of greats, and I wrote a poem with Muhammad Ali's name in it. And I wrote a poem that talked about the ancestors and standing on the backs of greats like Muhammad Ali, those who came before, those who stared down the faces of hate, those who did it, with no restitution, giving up everything that they had, and in honor of the revolution. That was a part of my poem. And so Muhammad Ali, people like him, we have to stand on those front lines, on the backs of those great people. You being one yourself, you stand on the name and on the honorarium of a great legend, an abolitionist, Frederick Douglass. Talk to us about what do you get when you step into the mindset of a Frederick Douglass? What comes up? What inspires you to, to live out and finish his life story? Where is that inspiration coming from, and why do you do that?
Well, if I can, this year marks 11 years. And um, prior to, us falling into this COVID-19 issue, if you will, today is what, Tuesday?
Yeah,
Well, believe it
Tuesday.
or not, Monday that just passed, I was supposed to be on a flight going on tour, four-state tour. All right.
Wow,
Today was supposed to have been my first stop. Today would have been
right,
my first stop in Baltimore.
wow,
I started doing Frederick Douglass in 2009. All right. And as elementary as it is, just getting up out of my bed that morning, standing in front of the mirror, brushing my teeth, I hear Frederick Douglass 3 times. I look around, and at the time I was married, I look around and see a wifey talking to me. Nobody's there. So right then, I took it was a signal coming down from God. Young brother, I didn't argue, I didn't question, because a lot of times when we question ourselves right out of the quest that we were, of our purpose. Once I got myself together, I went on down to, the Performing Arts, the Strauss Performing Arts Center, and I was fortunate enough, blessed enough that they didn't charge me for the Tico Center there. They donated. They didn't know who I was, but they donated. For 3 years, I was donated. They gave me the Tico Center. And as I grew, here I am 11 years later. From that moment to this moment, you know, Frederick Douglass, in reading and portraying him and carrying out who he was as a man, a black man. You feel me? This man came from slavery. He endured the whippings and he saw the beatings. This man had to take his hard earned money and give it to his master. And in return, the master would give him a penny. This man who had to endure, you know what I mean? Uh, um, Shortages of meals. This man had to sleep in potato sacks in the midst of the winter, seeing his aunt get whipped tremendously. But yet and still, and not only that, but when he turned 15 years old or 16 years old, being sent to the slave breaker, Master Corvée, and this man being whipped every day for 6 straight months. He endured the pain that within that 6 month, he he found the strength to fight back against what could have been the end of his life, but it was the beginning of his life at 16 years old, telling his master that you're not whipping me anymore. Even though he was still in slavery, for another 2 years, he was what? He was free in form, but he was still a slave in fact, but he was a free slave. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So here we are in this time. We got to understand that this thing that I'm pointing at inside this skull that I'm hitting on, there's a brain in there. And one of these things, one of these steps, as a matter of fact, number 5 is education. We got to be open to the fact that, we educate ourselves so that we can be prepared to endure issues like this. Frederick Douglass, man, I mean, you know, you're right. I can switch from being Donald Dowridge to Frederick Douglass. This brother is hanging on a lot of my walls here in my house. You see what I'm saying? I have great respect for Mr. Douglass because Mr. Douglass has implied in my life that yes, I can go through the storm and I can come out. Now, understand when we go through a storm and we come out on the other end, you got to understand that we're going to be scathed as we go through that storm.
Mm.
Meaning that we're going to have to sustain injury. We're going to have to sustain letdowns. We're going to have to sustain through faults. We're going to have to sustain through the setbacks that come through that endure, that endurance. You see what I'm saying? To
Mm.
get to the other side. And brother, like Mr. T would say, I pity the fool that go through the endurance and then come out the other side still like they were when they first went through the pain.
Right.
What did
Right.
you learn?
Right. Right.
What did you learn? What did you conquer? What did you benefit? If everything you went through and you still haven't learned how to what? To be that person you're supposed to be in this thing called life.
Yes.
And that sums up, I know you're going to say, but that sums up when you're laying in front of the church and the pastor have to lie to make you look good.
Mm. 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 Mm.
And I
You know
don't know if you've
something?
ever been to one of
That's
those
that's
experiences.
that's kind of deep, man. You know what I'm saying? Because on some real stuff though, you hitting the nail on the head when it talks about what we have to endure. You know, one of the things I want to talk about is how we as black people uh find it, very, very, very hard to deal with this. And I'm talking about as a collective. There's so many things that we've went through, so many things that we've been through that's in our blood, that came down our bloodline, in our DNA. And so as black people go through COVID-19, what's the encouragement that you give them? And I'm talking to black people right now because, they we wasn't given the advantages of our counterpart white people. There's some people that don't have jobs. Black people are losing jobs,
Yeah,
and we didn't have this setup as our white counterparts did, and
right,
they got the luxury of sitting still, being able to take a month or two off. But for
right,
black people looking for the encouragement in these times, how did the white people get to set themselves up? My mindset tells me that they had the entrepreneur mindset. They had the mindset of saying, I'm going into business for myself and I'm going to make sure that me and mine are taken care of. For times like these, what do you say to people that's so hungry to get back to work? Because to me, I gotta say it like it is. That's a slave mindset to be ready to go back to work and go and looking at what you have right here, right now, looking at these times. Look at how they could just take your job from you. You see, look at how they could just take that from you. And so there's some people out there ready to get back on that slave ship. Not the graveyard ship, but the slave yard ship. They're ready
mm-hmm.
to go back and work and slave themselves. What's the word that you can give people to help them see that light to say, you know what, don't go that route. Do this, do something else.
Well, you know what? On page 14, I wrote, standing strong, a must. Being soft will lead to disgusting results. All right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a thin line. And I must say that, allow me to go back when it was put in me to leave my job. I was 39, right? I can't tell you how many people came up to me and called me a fool, said I was crazy, I'm out of my mind, why am I doing it? Well, the thing of it is, and I know me, I am a poor, Poor, poor example of a human being of working for somebody else. Because me clocking into somebody else's job, making them rich, it just ain't gonna work. I'll get fired on the first day. You see what I'm saying? So I understand, like Les Brown says, the worst thing you can do is go to work for somebody else and spend the whole 8 hours working for somebody else and you're dissatisfied. Spending the whole 8 hours and you come home at the end of the day, you're tired, you're worn out, you know what I mean? And you got to do what? You got to take care of your family and everything. You see what I'm saying? But it's one thing to be sitting on that job and saying how much you hate the job, but you're not doing anything to remove yourself to be able to be that entrepreneur or to create that job. You see what I'm saying?
Right,
So
right.
now that we have this downtime, one who is dissatisfied at working for somebody else, the question should be, all right, is that, wow, I got skills. The job I worked for, they gave me skills. How can I turn that skill into a benefit for me? Instead of me being, punching in, how can I punch in for me? How can
Right.
I punch in for my family? How can I punch in for my endurance? I have a lot of people who tell me, they say, Don, um, I can't remember who it was, but just recently, they walked away from their job. Just on the tip of this starting to happen. They walked away from their job, and what they said is, you know what? It feels like the whole world has just been lifted off my shoulders.
Right.
Because now I can go out and I can do what I desire, which is fantastic. But when you talk about, like you talked about, those small Black businesses that are going through this pain right now, you're right. See, I said it earlier, when America coughs, we die. Because of the fact that 9 times out of 10, if you're a small business owner in this environment right now and you're Black, you're right. A lot of those small businesses, they're going to sink, unfortunately. Why are they going to sink? One might say, well, I don't know what you're talking about, Mr. Dowridge, because guess what? They just signed the stimulus package. Well, the stimulus package won't be here for you. You won't be able to touch it for another 3, 4 weeks.
Yeah.
What are you going to do in the meantime?
Right.
All that inventory that you might have. Now, I was looking at something on TV where they were saying that, what this lady was doing, white lady, what she was doing, she's signing out greeting cards. She has a greeting card company, and she's signing, and what she's doing, she's sending out these greeting cards on her dime. How many of us can afford to send out greeting cards? If you have a greeting card company, how many of us can afford to sit back during this time and say, you know what, I'm good. Let me send out 10,000 greeting cards on my dime. It ain't
Right.
gonna happen.
Right.
Not on us. And you're right, what you said earlier. All right, a lot of white families, what they do, they educate their children from the what? From the
From,
womb.
from the womb.
From the
From birth.
womb, they're preparing their children for entrepreneurship. If
Yes.
not entrepreneurship, they're preparing them on how to what? Save, how to
Yes.
have a bank account, how to know about business. You see what I'm saying? And brother, I'm not stepping on our toes, but I am going to say this. I come straight from the vine. At my young years, all right, you give me a nickel, 2 days later, I'm broke
Yeah.
because I did not have that training. I did not have that wherewithal to be able to know the value of a dollar. I did not know the value of what it takes to keep that dollar in the neighborhood. More so than taking that dollar and going into another neighborhood and spending it. Perfect example, Thanksgiving. I'm just gonna be real with you. All right,
Go ahead.
Thanksgiving, because it was coming up on my birthday. It might have been Thanksgiving or Christmas, but anyway, I'm in the liquor store. This is the foreigners liquor store. So I asked the guy behind the counter, come to find out he's the owner. I said, "Are you shutting down for Thanksgiving?" Shutting down? No, we're not shut. We don't shut down. We open Thanksgiving because we must make money for our family.
Mm.
They're not talking about their family that's living here. They're
Yeah.
talking about their family that's living overseas.
Back in, yeah, countries
back in
over.
their country. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
they're taking our dollars and taking it back overseas to make sure their children graduate.
Oh
To
yeah.
make sure their children and family have food on their table.
Mm-hmm.
But we are denying ourselves the opportunity to take our dollars and serve that dollar within our neighborhood so that our people can live. You see what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
first and foremost, if you got a business, I'm saying, bruh, I ain't supporting you, man. Look at your prices. I'm not supporting you because, you ain't justice.
Mm.
But you got to understand for each one of us black folks out here starting a business, we're starting that business either because A, we understand our purpose, B, we got a supply and there's a demand, C, we have the ability to be able to work with the general public.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at ABC. All right.
That's deep. That's deep.
Yeah, but
Ben,
we have to have, we as a people have to have the know-how to believe in us, to
yeah.
support us. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're quick to turn our back on us and go support them,
Yes.
and them is
Yes.
standing back and saying, "Here they come." That's just like if you driving a Mercedes and your Mercedes break down, all right, and you go to a corner shop, all right. Guess what they saying? Here come big money. Because
Yeah.
all they're looking at, you know what they're looking at? They looking at the emblem on their car.
Yeah.
Well, us, when they stand there and they see us coming, they don't see us as people. They see us as dollar signs.
Yeah.
And the thing that really kills me is when I walk in and they're behind the counter and they say, "What's up, my brother? How you doing, bro? Yo, homie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you see the
Yeah.
game yesterday?" I'm like, "Excuse me?"
Mm-hmm.
They're perpetrating the fraud, so they are
Yeah.
trained to deal with us.
Right. Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're not trained to deal with us.
Oh, that was deep. That was deep. I want to ask you then. Yeah, black people, our people have been subjected to so much, and we're the biggest consumers in America. We are the biggest consumers of America, and so this is why they bring. This is why every ethnic group can come into our communities and set up shop and walk away, filthy rich, literally. And so I want to keep us on this path of going. How do we get out of that mindset and go into setting ourselves up for the near future, so that way we don't. When this is over, when COVID-19 is over, I promise you, I don't want to see people going back to jobs. I want to see, when COVID-19 is over, I want to see some successful people. And what I mean by successful is, I want to say, when I see you, I want you to be able to tell me, "Oh, during COVID-19, I took some online courses. During COVID-19, I did some training. During COVID-19, I developed some skills to get myself so I don't have to." So I ain't worried about going back to work, because that told me that as easily they could take my job away, that's as easily as I could be out here homeless on the street, begging for money, a bum, whatever, right? And no disrespect to homeless people that are less fortunate. I want to ask you, what are some tips that you can offer black people in this time, so that way we don't come out of COVID-19 on the bottom side of this once again? Because we came into it on the bottom side. How do we come out of it on the top side? So what are some tips that you can offer that people can start to say, "Hey, let me write these down"?
Well, let me start, because you said something in your monologue that triggered a thought. When we come out of this, what you said took me back to when we were in the downturn of '08.
Yeah, I remember
That's
'08.
when, yeah, that's when, President Barack Obama came in and he bailed out, the cars,
All the corporates.
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? When everybody was pulling back on spending power, it was said that America was standing strong on the black dollar. Only, meaning that during that course of us going through that downturn, depression, whatever
Recession. Recession, yeah.
It was stated that we as black folks had spent $7 billion.
Wow.
What did we spend that on? We spent it on materialistic things such as cars, renting movies, buying TVs,
Jordans,
toys, materialistic.
No value, things of no value.
No value. You see what I'm saying? Depreciation.
Yeah, now, no redeeming value.
If you go back to '08 to where we are now, all right, 12 years later, I believe it is, okay? Most of that money that was spent, can we speak for it? My grandmother, my great-grandmother, Mary Rogers, told me, you know what she told me?
What she told you?
A long time for it to hit home. She said, if you're going to spend your money in areas that you can see it. Home, business, setting up your business. You see what I'm saying? Pouring into your children. Bank accounts that will, when your time expired, that you have left your offsprings in a position that they can move forward. When you look at the white dollar, all right, I know you heard what they call grandfathered in.
Yeah, I've heard that before. Yep, I heard that before.
A lot of white people are grandfathered in.
Yes.
Millennials. The millennials are grandfathered in.
To success. Right? To success, yes.
You see what I'm saying? So it's almost going back to not Brooklyn, but Do the Right Thing, when the brothers walk into the store and they say, why you don't have no black people up in here? They don't have to have any black people in there. What you have to do is be able to start your own business so that when we come out of COVID-19, you're standing firm, but not just standing firm because you started your own business. That business you desire to start needs people like you, me, and many others of us as consumers to help that business stay afloat. You know what I mean? So
yes, I do.
It's on us that we adhere to that when we come out of this downturn or this COVID-19, that we are not in the soup line with our hands out saying, please, mister, please, ma'am, will you feed us?
Will you feed my children?
Yeah. So, just look at where we are right now. And some may not agree with me, but we are at an advantage right now.
Yes.
What do I mean? With gas prices at $1.65.
Yeah, $1.69 we saw.
Yeah, that at Sam's is $1.62. I got my gas yesterday.
$1.62? Where that's at?
And it's going down even further. But what I'm saying is, listen to what I'm saying.
I'm listening.
Gas is at a low right now. What are we doing with that money that we could be, that capital, that currency that we usually spend, putting it in our tank? All right? What are we doing with the capital that we're usually out here buying, Walmart or wherever we go at? Well, apparently that means that money, that currency is stacking up somewhere. Use that stash, all right? Like the rappers say, it's those racks. Use those racks. Use that stack, all right?
That stack, yep.
Use it to your benefit to allow you to start investing in you, to invest in your children. Because, bruh, don't get it twisted, because when we come up out of this, there's going to be more whites, more Italians, more Iranians, more Arabs, more Jewish, more everybody else except us as blacks that's going to benefit from where we are to where we're about to go.
Yeah, you said so. That's a stark reality.
Yeah, if you ever played pool When the game is about to end, you got the white ball and you got the 8 ball. You feel me? The
Yep.
8 ball is what color?
Black.
Black. In order for you to win that game, that white ball got to knock that black ball
Gotta
off
take the
the
black.
table.
Yep. Gotta take the black ball out. Yep.
You got to take the black ball out. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
And if
Mm-hmm.
anybody who's looking at this decide in their mind, Mr. Dowridge, DLD is a racist, you got it twisted. I am reality. I am reality is that,
Mm-hmm.
we have to forge forward and prepare for what's about to come. Let me tell you
Yes.
something. If I can go on a religious
Rant.
tip real quick. All right.
Take us down that path.
Moses was chosen. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Moses had a stuttering problem. All right. But yet and still, God believed in Moses enough that he chose Moses to go out and do a mission. When it was all said and done, let my people go. All right. Pharaoh, let my people go. Where was Moses at? Moses standing right there at the Red Sea. What did Moses do with that stick that was turned from a snake to a stick?
So
He hit
staff.
that bad boy in the ground. The sea began to do what?
Part
Part.
ways. Yeah.
All right. So here we are. All right. We're about ready to come out of this thing in 2 or 3 weeks. All right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the parting of the sea. Right now, we all should be joining forces and preparing, or we should have done it already, because Noah was already out there building the ark. We should have got on that ark so that we can what? Glide through this COVID-19 because everybody else is gliding through this. You
Yeah.
feel me?
Yeah.
We shouldn't be using COVID-19, busting rocks, burning ourselves out, worrying ourselves out, wondering why, sitting with attitudes as we're in this mist, and then come out on the other side to find out, guess what? We are standing in the mist and we getting ready to get hit by the white ball
Mm.
because we did not prepare to go in this dive to come out. That's why I say the roller coaster of life. We're right here. We're in the bottom right now. We all done rolled on the roller coaster. All right. So when that roller coaster going up, you know what it's called? Anticipation.
Yeah.
When it hit the top, whee! But then when it go down, guess what we saying? Man, I can't wait to go back up again. So that's where we are right now. I can't wait to go back up. But if you are prepared when we come down to this point, guess what? It don't matter if we go up or we go down because you're
Right.
riding on an even keel.
Yeah.
Because
You're
you,
right. Even
because you are what? Prepared.
prepare. Let me. Wow. That's a lot, and I like it. Tell me.
I hope I'm making a point, and I hope that
Making a
what I'm
point.
speaking is valid, and I hope that your listeners, are attuned to what I'm saying.
You're
I
going to
don't want to
be.
speak over. I want to speak at.
Yeah. You're speaking at them right now, and what I want to ask you is, what's the biggest difference between your generation and my generation and the generation behind me, younger generation? Yeah, I would even say, yeah, just what's the difference that you see as far as mentality goes? Mentality goes. What's the difference that you see from your generation in time coming up to our generation in time coming up, or even the millennials generation?
My nephew went. Matter of fact, when I was on tour with this book back in 2013, I had my nephew who is he's a lyricist. He's a poet up in Michigan. He got Detroit on lock, right? This
Mm-hmm.
man, all right, that's his name. All right, very proud of him. I took him on tour with me, him and my younger nephew, which is his nephew, his sister's son, Q. All right, at the time when he was 10, I can't believe dude is 19 now. But anyway, we went on tour and we was at my cousin's house in South Carolina, and cousin I was talking. So big nephew, he said, Uncle Don, uh, can I say something? I said, yeah, nephew, go ahead. You know. And he said, Uncle, you two brothers, y'all old enough to be my dad, and I respect y'all to the utmost. But I got to say this, and if you get mad, I'm sorry. I'll walk home if I have to. The brother said, it's your generation fault that we are where we are. My cousin said, man, what you talking about, young fella? And then as I thought about it, I said, you know what? He's right. What do I mean that he's right? Because, see, when my generation, and when I say my generation, the baby boomers, all right, when we were going through what was called the hell, getting beatings and etc., the furnace,
civil rights and all that.
yeah, spare the rod, spare the child. All right. So our
Yeah.
rod was not spared.
Right.
You feel me? We were kept in line. Chris Rock came out a few years ago and he said, all the beatings that I've gotten never land me in jail. All the beatings I got never caused me to go out and be a drug dealer. All the beatings I've got never caused me to go out and kill somebody. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it goes back to when you spare the rod. Now, when my generation was coming up, because I'm guilty too. You know what I said? Man, when I become a dad, a parent, I ain't gonna be dogging my children out like that. But it's not a matter of dogging your children out. There's a difference between abusing your children. If you want abuse, I'll tell you about some abuse because I've been there. I've been through it. I'm not talking about abusing your child. I'm talking about being firm with your child. You see what I'm saying? So the system is set up, you know what I mean, that when you go back to the 80s, all right, look, lady, if you want these food stamps, you got to get rid of that man. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? So in the 80s, they started moving the black man, if you will, out of the home. So it left the woman, the mother, with the children. All right. So things started getting a little soft. All right. People ain't gonna like this. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, there's women out there right now that don't play the radio with their children, and I give them much respect. But when they started moving the black man out of the home, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And much love to Dr. King when he said, look, we want to be treated as equal. All right. So when they started making all these transformations, all right, in those transformations, the generations behind us were the generation that was growing up to suffer the consequences. Mm-hmm. Because look, the rules and regulations that they set up in this country right now, you see what I'm saying? It is set up more so not for the white to fail, but for the blacks to fail. Mm-hmm. Because we as African Americans, all right, one thing I know for a fact, all right, if you come up to me as a child and you say, Don, will you please go over there and sit down? My response is, you know what? I don't know who you're talking to, but you better get the F out my face. But if I come back and I say, you know what, young man, get your behind up and move over there. Young lady, get up and move over there. That's the language we understand. Mm. But when you shift the gears, that is like, look, baby. Well, baby just going to turn around, you see what I'm saying? And going to give you a look to make you scared. And that's where we are now. Mm. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
So I understand that we as a black people have a tendency, it's just like they were saying, I don't know why that child in my classroom is so loud. Well, that child is not disrespecting, but you got to look at the home life. You see what I'm saying? How loud it is at home.
What the child brings into the classroom didn't start in the classroom.
Yeah.
What the child is bringing into the classroom is coming from a foundation, a base.
Yeah.
And that's the home base.
Yeah. And to that, that's the common sense. So that millennial, all right, that is raising a child now, guess what? That new baby that's coming in this world now, matter of fact, the one that was just born a second ago, right? That baby is going to come in with more privileges because the rod has been spared. But now it's just a matter with the new privileges that baby will get coming in this world now. When that baby get to be 21, 25, 30, where will that baby go? Because everybody has said, you know what? Hands off, let the baby raise themselves. How you gonna let a baby raise themselves if you don't train the baby to be raised?
Raise a child in the way it should go, and when he gets older, he will not depart from it.
Will not depart from it.
Yes.
But now we have a situation where a lot of our babies, all right, are being raised that guess what? They were never raised in the right way.
They're departing from sound wisdom. They're departing from truth. They're departing from a way of righteousness. You understand? So when you don't raise the child when you don't raise a child in a home, and I mean that word when I say a home, either a mother and a father, or a mother and that young child may have some male role models in his life, some male leaders, but that child has to have that balance of the two. And so when you are raising a child and that child doesn't have those boundaries of man and woman in place,
Yeah.
then that child is going to go astray.
Yeah, and believe me, brother, believe me, I've had, I've been in this business for 28 years, dealing with young people. You see what I'm saying? And the stories that have been told to me by young people of what goes on in their home, what they're not getting, why they're not getting, and they are the way they are because they're not getting that. Let me tell you something. Children, all right, you know what they want? They want love.
Love, right? Yep.
That's the first and foremost thing.
They want love. Yep.
Well, I'm
fact.
gonna go graphic on you. I'm gonna go raw on you. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
When your mother and your father, my mother and my father got together on that Pacific night, you know what they both said to each other? They said, "I love you."
Mm-hmm.
9 months later, you were born, I was born, we were all born 9 months later, prematurely, maybe 5 months. But guess what? You cannot birth that child with knowing that that child did not ask to come here, but you can't birth that child and not give that child love and expect that child to grow up and be the most astute grown up in the world. It ain't gonna happen because of the fact, it's been done. If you in a what they call it when you put the babies in the room and you can walk by and see your baby and wave at them.
That's like the incubator room or something like that.
Well, I forgot. It's not the incubator, but where they have all the little babies.
The nursery.
Right?
Yeah.
And guess what? When you're standing at that window looking at your child, you know where that child is sitting there, and that child is doing his little thing, all right? But the biggest thing that child wish, unbeknownst to that child, is that you come over, you pick the child up, or
and hold him.
Has a physical connection with you.
Right. That is so backwards. The way we take the child and separate it from the mom at birth.
Yeah, that child is longing for a physical connection.
Touch.
You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to have that child in your stomach for 9 months.
Right.
And you, as the mother, is feeding that child, loving that child, and giving that child everything it needs for that 9-month birth. But once that child is separated from you, that child is eager to have you to touch him or her. Now, just imagine that you got a child that is never touched, loved, and that child winds up in a center for adoption. Or that child winds up lacking, what it needs to grow, nutrition. Or that child winds up lacking what it needs, education. Or that child winds up lacking shelter. 9 times out of 10, brother, those children are already written off. They become the havoc of the world because they did not get, because they lacked, because nobody gave them the love that they need. You feel me? So 9 times out of 10, our young, and I'm going there, 9 times out of 10, our young black males, our young black females that are not getting that, they wind up on a lower tier of this thing called life. They travel. See, you and I and many of us, we're privileged to be born. Were you born in St. Pete?
Yeah, I was born here in St. Pete Hospital.
So, okay, watch this. So in the mere young life that you have lived, I'm sure from that hospital to that house you lived in with your parents to when you became an adult and you moved from that house to where you live at now, you have been outside of your neighborhood, and I'm sure you've been outside of your city. You have been outside of the state of Florida. Just imagine those children that come in now that will live their whole life on that one block and never get out of their city, their state, or the world. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because of the fact that guess what? They are born with a malnutrition of what life is supposed to be because they're not getting what they supposed to have gotten from birth. What is that,
Love.
my brother? LOVE. What is that, my
Love.
brother?
Love.
Discipline. What
Discipline.
is
Yeah.
that, my brother? Nutrition. What is
Yeah.
that, my brother?
This.
Somebody to sit down and have a talk with. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Discipline is love. Discipline is
Yeah,
love too. You know.
yeah.
But
Watch this. Let me say this real quick.
okay.
When I talk, when I'm holding a session with children, kids, teenagers, you know what I ask them? How many of you all by raising your hand have an adult in your life, in your family that's my age that you're embarrassed of?
Mm.
When I see all of them raise their hand and then they carry on small little conversations about themselves, I say, let's talk about it. How does it affect you? What is it doing to help you groom that you have an adult in your family, in your life that you're embarrassed of? Why are you embarrassed? Because that adult that's supposed to be guiding you and loving you and caressing you and showing you the path of life, it turns out that you're the one wind up showing them.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep.
Because
I do.
they have given up on life or they never reached the plateau that they were born to reach.
Mm.
What does that mean? That takes me into the next chapter. All right. Alcohol, drugs. Yeah, I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna throw sex in there. Silence. You see what I'm saying? And lack of self-esteem of self knocks that person totally out the game.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
To
So
see
let me.
somebody my age, all right,
Mm-hmm.
in their 60s, like I had the brother come up to me and they say, Donald Dowridge. This was like a couple of weeks ago. Donald Dowridge. I didn't know who the brother was. And then when he told me where we were at, how he knew me, what we used to do, he's still doing it.
Mm. I remember. Yeah. So when they say, "Man, you changed," now I say, "Man, say I was supposed to." You know what I'm
I
saying?
was supposed to
I
change
was
for the
supposed to
better.
change. I was supposed to change. When they say you changed, brother, be like, yeah, I was supposed to change. But
Yeah, you changed for the better.
right, right. Let me ask you this because I'm gonna
But
go into. I got three questions. I'm gonna end off with. I want to ask you my favorite three questions. But before I get into that right now, I want to ask you one more deep question. As far as with the kids of this generation, this age, this day and age, these children, um, you know, what's the best approach that you know I want to say our children, but anyone, any young professional, any college student coming out of college, any high school student getting ready to make decisions for his life or her life. What's the best approach? How can you what motivate them in a direction so that they can leave out of here, out of this COVID-19, and not be down about uh, job security or something like that? Send them in a direction that makes them see that they have the quality that it takes to be the best person and the best businessman or woman that they can be to serve their people or their community or whoever they want to serve. So help them in that sense. Before we take off and go into my favorite three questions, what do you have for those people?
you know, you know, um, I guess I can answer it like this. There's nothing new under the sun. You see what I'm saying? Everything that's supposed to be done has already been done. The only thing that makes you and I go, wow, when you go to the mall and you see something in the mall, or you might go to an outlet and you see something in the outlet that caught your eyes and whatnot, and then you saying to yourself, like, wow, I like that. That's not new. It's just been modified.
Mm-hmm.
It's been modified for the times that we live in. You see what I'm saying? Look, it's like a computer. All right. So basically, you know what I mean? Computers are not new. You know why they're not new? Because back in the days, they used to be them big tall monsters sitting in the principal's office.
Mm-hmm.
But what they did, they modified it so much now through technology that you know what? We can do everything we need to do on a cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So in reference to, what would I say to, that college student? Oh man, God, dog, I was going in Publix yesterday and a little girl stopped me and she said, you're a motivational speaker, right? I say, yes. She told me, she said, I remember you. I said, where you remember me from? She said, I don't know. She said, but you the guy that you the motivational speaker who mentioned that you were made to eat dog food, right? I said, yep, that's me. She said, Alpo. I said, yep. I said, well, where do you know me from? She said, I don't know. I said, so what are you doing? She said, oh, I'm a student at University of Tampa. All right. I said, what
Yeah.
are you studying? What are you studying? She's a sister, right? I said, what are you studying? She says, I'm studying accounting, all right, and marketing. I said, you go, young
That's
lady.
right.
So, you know what I told her? I said, before I departed her, I told her, I said, look, one, stay focused on your dreams, all right? There's going to be issues, but you must take your issue and underline it and put on top of it aspiration. You
Mm-hmm.
got to be able to stay within your aspirations of reaching your goal of graduating and then taking you to the next step of being an entrepreneur or whatever you intend to do with that degree. Number
Right.
two, all right, you got to
Yep.
keep, like I said earlier, grow into some faith. Grow into some faith. You see, I'm far from being a pastor, brother. All right, so don't put
Yep.
me on a pedestal so I can be
Don't
crucified.
put you up on the don't put you up in the pulpit yet, right?
Hey, I ain't trying to be crucified. You feel me?
They won't do it.
But have faith, all right? And know that there's somebody greater than you. So use your faith to manifest you within seeking your goal.
Right.
All right. Number three,
Focus,
all right?
faith. Okay.
Number three, dark corners. All right.
Dark corners. Okay.
Dark corners is not necessarily meaning that you're walking down an alley to get robbed. You see what I'm saying? Dark corners are basically those who do not have your best interest at hand. Those who are standing in front of you to block you from your goals and those aspirations. Be able to what? Build your mountain so that you can climb that mountain. And when you get to that top of the mountain, be able to turn around and bring somebody else up with you. Don't get on the dark alley and think it's all about you. Be able to take your what? Your 180 eye scope to
Yeah.
seek out others who might want to be where you are. Because keep
Right.
in mind, we all going to die one day, and it's a shame if you die and you didn't share your gift. You feel
Oh,
me?
that's so powerful.
Continue to educate you. And as you continue in your education, educate another because everything that is poured into you, understand, is not solely for you. It's
Right.
for you. Somebody told me, like, you see this towel? You see this
Yep.
towel?
Yep.
I can get up and go to the zinc and wet this towel. You feel me? But if I
Right.
don't wring this towel out, I'm gonna have water all over the place. You see
Right.
what I'm saying? So
Right.
what I have to do, I have to wring this towel out. I have to wring it out. So guess what?
Mm.
Get the education. Soak yourself in education, but as you go, wring it out so others can get the lightning of your
Nice.
knowledge.
Nice. So you know something I always say, what you have, I always say what the universe has for you is for you, and what you have for you is for others.
That's it.
Ooh, that's
That's
it.
it.
Let
So
me
when I
let me
got a
go ahead. Go
I'll say
ahead. Go
this
ahead.
when I got a young brother that's 33 years old, and back in the days when he was 12, he was part of my group that I had, KDIWD, Kids Doing It Without Drugs, right? So this
It's
man is a grown man telling me, he said, Mr. Don, you remember when we were little and you told me XYZZX? I said, son, I don't even remember that. He said, Mr. Don, don't feel bad because guess what? It wasn't for you to remember. It was for me to what? To remember. You were just a messenger giving it to me to help manifest me. You see what I'm saying?
yeah,
So
that's right.
that's all we're doing.
Mm.
Miles Monroe himself, he said, when you got 4 quarters of life, all right, your quarters are birth to 25, that's the first quarter. 26 to 50, that's the second quarter. Uh, 51 to 75, that's the what? That's the third
That
quarter.
third quarter. Yeah.
Make it past that 75 to 100, that's your 4 quarters. All right. The first quarter and what you're doing, that's your learning quarter. The second quarter is your working quarter. The third quarter is the quarter to begin to what? To relax, but not just relax, but to teach. Your fourth quarter is when you're in a relaxed mode because you done teach yourself out and it's about you now.
Right. Nice. That's a good way to end that segment off. I'm gonna ask you three questions of mine that I always like to ask guests. Three favorite questions. I
I
want
hope
to
you're
ask
smart
you.
enough to answer.
Yeah, man, you got this. You got this. Let me ask you first. Who motivates Donald Dowridge?
Who motivates me? Well, first and foremost, God inspires me.
Uh-huh.
Second of all, through him, there's a seed that's put inside of me. The seed is always being watered. It's being watered by people that I rely on, people that I pick up my phone to talk to. My seed is always watered by the likes of those books that I have. You see what I'm saying? My seed is also watered and sprouted by the likes of learning from people like a Frederick Douglass, learning from a people like a Martin Luther King, learning from a people like a Elijah Muhammad, learning from a people like Adam Clayton Powell, learning from a people from, I got a long list of people, brother. That's so long that I can't remember all of them. But
Right.
it's just a mere fact. These people that I speak of, that is world famous, if you will, and some of them are no longer here. Those are my, when you say grandfather, then those are my grandfathers. You see what I'm saying? That has
Yes.
helped me to grow to be who I am. And not only them, but there have been many right here in the city of Tampa.
Right. Yeah. It's
The
usually those
Bob
amongst us.
Gilders, the Bob Samuels, um, the Walter Crawfords, the Miss Jennings from Hillsborough High School. These are people who have poured and gave their energy to pour in me when I couldn't even pour into myself. You see what I'm
Mm,
saying? So
mm,
those are the ones who keep me sprouting. You know
right.
what I mean? So,
Mm-hmm.
brother, when they talk about integrity, somebody told me a long time ago. They said, boy, let me tell you something. All right. See, integrity is not when you out there in front of people. Integrity is when you're home by yourself and nobody's watching.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
integrity. You see
That's
what
how
I'm
I
saying?
always
How
yeah.
do you hold up in your own space? Because what you do in the dark, guess what it's going to do? It's
Come to
going to
light.
come to light because you done did it so much in the dark that it's going to slip out in the light. And when it
Mm-hmm.
slips out in the light, are you ready to be on spot? You see what I'm
All right.
saying?
Yes.
So
Yes. Yes.
those are the people that help me to stay grounded,
Mm-hmm.
humble, to be able to know that the knowledge that I have is not mine, is to give to others who are seeking the knowledge. So it also allowed me to go and teach others, and it also allowed me to teach myself. It allowed me to give to others. It allowed me to be open to the world that I live in. The world keeps me grounded so that I can take what I learn to give to others. And brother, let me tell you something. You'll be surprised at the age I am at 63, I learn more from young brothers and sisters like you
Mm-hmm.
than I do at those that are at my age right now.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's your brothers. Like I have people that tell me, they ask me, how much you know? How do you know so much about young people and what they doing out in the streets? I said it's because the young people that are feeding me to keep me on point.
Mm.
It's not a matter of me going over the young folks. It's a matter of me going at the young folks on their level so that when they jump in my hand, I can teach them and take them to the next level of where they need to be in their life.
And,
Each one teach one.
that's a fact. So uh, let me ask this next one. Pass on to the listeners favorite quote of yours. What's your favorite quote that you use every day, or affirmation or something that you're willing to pass on and share with the audience?
Well, besides the famous one, each one teach one, um, I have one, and you know what? You don't put me on the spot, and
Take your time, brothers. These things right here don't come as easy as we want them to.
and believe it or not, I used to put it give a hand, raise a hand.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what that is, that means that you are giving another one a hands up to the opportunity that was given to you.
Mm.
And that's just another way to say each one teach one. You
Right.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we all need each other.
That's right.
I don't care how much you may say that you don't, we all need each other. And
We
I
all
will
need to.
say this: find your purpose,
Yes.
discover your purpose, live your purpose.
Mm.
And allow me to say this, and I'm reading this from the tail end of The Power of Being a Winner.
Okay.
All in all, we only get one life. So, with that said, include rest, sleep, proper diet, vitamins, and a whole lot of positive attitude, charging forth respect and self-esteem.
There you go. All right. Let's get this last one out.
Go for it.
What is Donald Dowridge's purpose in life? What is
What
your
is my
purpose?
purpose in life?
Yes.
Brother, let me tell you something. My purpose, especially as I've gotten older, who can I help next? All right? Who can I give this knowledge to? Who can I uplift? Who can I inspire? Who can I help them? Who can I open up so that they can see, and be able to honestly go towards their quest in life, that they can really find their purpose? Through all my studying, through all my reading, through all my education, through all the knowledge that I've gained through this thing called life, the purpose is, who can I inspire? And who can I make a winner?
Make a
Who,
winner.
who can I who can I give a motivational moment to?
Let me ask you, where can people find you? Where can people go and get more information from you from? Like, what are your social medias, websites, all that information that people can get?
Yes, sir. I'm all over social media. So basically, you can Google my name, um, Donal L. Dowridge Jr. Google DLD Enterprises. Google. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. I'm about ready to go up on TikTok. Uh,
I haven't got there
YouTube.
yet.
Huh?
I haven't got the TikTok yet.
I'm about ready to go up in there. It looks interesting.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm staying away from that one, like I did Snapchat.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
gonna clown myself though. I'm not
yeah.
gonna clown myself. You ain't gonna see me falling and bumping my head and all that old stuff.
Nah, that's
Also, site is www.dldenterprises.org. My email is dld282002@yahoo.com. My phone number, 813-394-5875. P.O. Box 21592, Tampa, Florida, 33622. And I will say this, all right, I am for hire. You can book me, all right, if you're interested. You can book me to have me come out and speak, not only just on Frederick Douglass, but you can have me to come out and do motivational sessions with adults. I speak on stress. I speak on management. You name it. I speak on it. Drugs, alcohol, foster kids, foster parents, and also the power of being a winner. If you're interested in purchasing this book, quite naturally, you can go online. You can Google the power of being a winner. And you can purchase it that way, or you can purchase it through me, $14.99 to $15.99. The latest book is $15.99. All right, and at this moment, it's not online, but you can order the book through PayPal. You can order the book through my email, and lastly, you can dial me at 813-394-5875. Again, Motivational Moments, my 14th book.
wow, wow. I mean, the motivation does not stop. So I just want to take a what I call an MOG, a moment of gratitude, and I just want to appreciate you right now for coming on to the show, In Pursuit of Purpose podcast. I just want to say thank you. I want to say continue on with much success. Continue on going, growing, helping others grow, giving, sharing, passing on knowledge to the young generation, the older generation, what you've done into the community as far as as long as I've known you, you've been nothing but a supporter of me. And I just wanted to return that favor and be nothing but a supporter of you. I just want to see you do wonderful things. I know that the best is yet to come. I just implore that everybody listening will seek this man out, seek out Donal Dowridge to get his motivational talks, to get his books, to get his mentorship, to get anything you can. Brother, I just want to just pour on you the praise and shower you with your flowers right now. So that way, when you are going from here on to the next better place, the next realm, I don't want to be left saying that I should have spent more time. I should have blessed that brother. I should have gave to. I'm doing it right now, and I just want to ask and implore everybody else do it as well. You've done a great deal of service for the community. You left a legacy. You are a legend, and you will continue to leave your imprint on this world. People will be doing history research on Donal L. Dowridge because you left your mark on this planet. And I want to say thank you, brother.
Hey, and I do appreciate that, young blood. No doubt, man. Sincerely, I appreciate you. You too will be sitting in a pedestal where people will be looking up at you because you have inspired not just St. Petersburg, but you have inspired not just Florida, but you have inspired the world.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. And I just want to say I appreciate those lasting words, and those touch my heart, and I appreciate that. So with that being said, I'd like to say thank you all for joining the show. In Pursuit of Purpose podcast season 2 is up and rolling now. Episode 3 with motivational guru, author, Frederick Douglass, actor, Donal L. Dowridge. And you know I always like to end this. I always like to say I love you, I love me, I love us, and I will see you all in pursuit.
Mute off any jokers who just be speaking in arrogance. Had to work for mine, not giving no quick start inheritance. But I do not mind, sometimes you know wealth can be perilous. Learning how to make it in roads of life is imperative. Yes, imperative. Separate truth from the fake, that non-fiction my narrative. So I'm not taking no breaks, got my greatness through heritage. Concept my own, see myself as the only comparison. A tabula rasa, is it highly improper? Because there's knowledge that's offered. What is supporting our posture, I don't know. But knowing, showing, dipping, flowing with the flow, I'm gifted. Going to a dead weight, throwing just to go get lifted.
Hey, always have beginner's mind, like I'm just born. First beginning, let's begin to find how I roll. Yes, I always have beginner's mind, like I'm just born.
I always approach every topic is such as I don't know the ropes. Open-minded and locked into open modos. I'm cracking the codes where I drop preconceptions. I drop bars that's dope, and I do not proceed on a pathway of ease. Everything is true, thought, and please do stop to read. Just don't shoot off, no true talk, deceive. I will die with my boots on, no boots off, I bleed or stay absentees. I'm a real soldier, I'm Tupac indeed. That's a big quit indeed. Recommend your crew block, bet they'll rock with me. You can see it's never senseless, agreed. Ayy, in rap, call me the paragon, I don't let down. Always something I leave you with, never dumb down. Like boy Lupe when he go off, I spit that ice. Sicko mode, you can find me in Cactus Jack, right?
Hey, always have beginner's mind, like I'm just born. First beginning, let's begin to find how I roll. Yes, I always have beginner's mind.